as our panel comes forward. And so that would be Ms. Reed, Ms. Woolcock, where's Reverend Gillum? Okay, Reverend Gillum, and who else is on this podium? Tom, you can come back up and join the panel. Okay. Come on. This Woolcock, okay, you can come on. If you all are more comfortable this way, whatever is comfortable for you.
Hello, this will be brief. Actually, I just wanted to read a few things. This is from an actual court transcript of my son's court hearing. This was on February the 23rd, and this is the district federal court. On that day, this is the first, the court says the next case called is my son, and present was, for the United States was the United States, is the United States ready, Your Honor? They said yes. The defendant is present and ready, Your Honor. As a preliminary matter, Your Honor, I was under the impression that my client had an intention to file a grievance on me. This is the lawyer, my son, speaking. He just recently informed me that he had already filed a grievance on me with the State Bar of Texas. Given that I anticipate that there is a potential conflict of interest, I have received no notice from the State Bar of such grievance, but my client says he has filed it, so he has requested that I move to withdraw from his case and for a continuance so that another counsel can take over. The court, all right, that motion is denied. This is what the judge said. The lawyer says, thank you, Your Honor. Additionally, my client has requested that he be permitted to withdraw his guilty plea. I have not filed that motion because, in my professional opinion, there is no legal or factual basis for it. And he did want the court to know his desire to withdraw his guilty plea. The judge says, all right, that motion is denied. The file reflects that a pre-sentence report has been prepared in this case. Mr. Perdue, have you gone over this with your lawyer? And my son says, no, not really. And the court asks the lawyer, all right, Ms. Liggett, have you gone over this report with your client? Yes, Your Honor, about 30 minutes, possibly 2 days ago. The court, all right, my son said, that's not true. The judge says, the court will find that the attorney has gone over the report with her client. The file also reflects that both the government and the defense have filed statements adopting the matters set forth in the pre-sentence report and the addendum. And then the judge says, does the government have any evidence or argument? The attorney, I guess representing the state, says, no, Your Honor. The court, does the defense have any evidence or argument? My son's lawyer says a brief argument, which she goes over briefly, is nothing really major, but she goes over it, and in the interest of time, the judge basically says that, let's see, at the time, this is what the lawyer said, at the time that he pleaded true to his revocation of his probation defense, let me see. The offense that we are being sentenced on to that I read, and his lawyer, Jenny Henley, who was his state lawyer under revocation, went to him with an offer to plead true and receive 10 years from the assistant DA in Abilene in Taylor County, and said, Dan Joyner said, if you accept this offer, he will not present these other charges to the federal government to be pursued federal charges, which he did anyway. Now, I have spoken personally with Jenny Henley and Mr. Joyner, who is the DA in Abilene, and that they both confirmed that it is true that it was their understanding that Mr. Joyner said to Ms. Henley, which was my son's lawyer, and she conveyed to Mr. Padrilla, my son, that if he pled guilty and accepted 10 years, that they would not present his charges to the federal government. Ms. Joyner said that in fact that they kept their bargain. She does not know how the federal authorities were involved in his case. The fact that Mr. Padrilla agreed to the deferred adjudication on the grounds that his case would not be referred to the federal was what the lawyer, was why the lawyer, that was her brief argument, basically. My son told me that probably a month before he was sentenced, he was taken from his prison cell, taken in front of the judge. This was not anything official. His lawyer took him to the judge, and the judge told him, if you do not plea on your day of sentence, I will give you 99 years in prison. And this was for a drug charge. I think it was 6 pounds of marijuana. And
excuse us, to catch up on this, first of all, this is, the 10 years probation was a different case to what they sentenced him here later for. The whole thing was they threatened him. They told him that if he didn't take this plea, that they were going to give him 99 years. However, they took him to
the judge
the judge a month and a half before. He was in on state charge, but they took him to a federal prison and locked him up, took him out of the federal prison, and took him to the judge, and the judge threatened him. However, he had no representation. He asked for lawyers to be replaced.
No evidence was presented.
They had no evidence.
He had some evidence. The lawyer has not even talked to him. And since then, he has gotten an appeal lawyer. He wrote me a letter a few days ago that said that the appeal lawyer filed appeal papers for him without even talking to him. He wrote him a letter and said, since he's been locked up, he's been moved around so many different places. He has not even spoken to his appeal lawyer. He wrote him like a 13-page letter. And I guess the lawyer took from the letter and filed something, but he did not address, he sent a kind of brief, but it did not address any of the issues, the major issues, which he wanted to bring forth was a legal search and seizure. When they got stuff, my son was at someone else's house, and he agreed to the charges because of things they said, but anyway, that none of that was addressed. He wanted a legal search and seizure to be brought up, and he had witnesses. None of that was even brought forth because he was never given an opportunity for a trial. He wanted to go to trial, and the judge denied that right.
What was happening, he was in someone else's house. They found guns in the other person's house. He was charged with the marijuana, the guns, and everything in the person's house.
And
no one else in the house was
it.
charged with it. The police made an agreement with the person that if they would let them take my son, however, they would not file charges on that particular person.
And this person was a white woman, and he was a black.
But the whole thing was, it wasn't right because they had no right to charge him without charging the other people who were there at that house. He did not stay at that house. He happened to be there. They sent an informant by word told that he was there, and this is how the charges were brought up. No search warrant. And so they made an agreement because he was on a 10-year probation, which they threatened him years before to take the 10-year probation. Told him if he didn't take the 10-year probation at 17 years old, and they grilled him and told him if he didn't take the probation, they were going to give him like 10 to 20 years. And it was real bad because we tried to get representation, and our attorney decided to represent him, but he told us he'd take $14,000 for each case. And they were trying to get money out of us, which we didn't have with poor people. And so when I told the lawyer that I didn't want to represent him, they gave him 10 years probation. Shortly after they gave him 10 years probation, within less than a month or two, they sent him to state jail for a year on another charge that they could have tried him with. And on the other charge, they gave him a year in the state jail. There was 2 other people charged for the same crime, and they got probation, and my boy got a year in state jail, which the year in state jail was agreement that they would drop the 10-year probation if he would take the year in state jail. When he come back from state jail, they put him back on the 10-year probation for 6.5 years.
And we've never heard of that before.
And they put him back on the probation.
He was on probation, got sent to jail, and
for a
he
year.
got on the same probation.
And he told us, he said,
Thank you.